Holy shit, that looks ugly as fuck. Alright, welcome to Design 101 for developers. Alright, I don't care if you are a front-end or back-end or full-stack developer. Right, design is still very important. Alright, so let's get started right away. First, let's take a look at this example of a UI. Alright, first we have an square, right, which represents an image here. Okay, we also have two passages of text and another image and another passage of text. Yeah, so if we zoom out a little, yeah, so remember what this looks like, and now look at this. Yeah, so notice the difference here where we have ample spacing between the two passages of text. Right, so you can see that we have ample spacing here, yeah, and between this passage of text and the image below it as well, right? Not to mention that we have some spacing between this text and this image, yeah. So it's very important to give your UI some breathing space, right? Especially for various parts of your UI, right? To make it look more professional. Yeah, and that leads us to the next point, which is alright, so how you position or group your UI elements, right, is very important as well. So take a look at this example. So over here right now we have an image represented by this square. Okay, we also have the description and caption of the image, followed by a post title, and followed by the post body itself, right? So once again, remember what this, right, how this looks like. All right, now take a look at this version, right? You'll notice that the description and caption of the image is positioned much closer, right, and just below the image itself, right? This already tells you that, hey, this caption is for this image. And also you can notice that now, okay, there's ample spacing, yeah, between the caption and the post title, right? And not to mention that now we see that the post title, right, over here is positioned closer, right, to the body, or rather its own body. Yeah, so from this, right, just from this, you can see that, hey, okay, so this is the title for this post, right? So grouping and positioning your UI elements together is really, really important, and it makes it very clear and easier for your users to see that, hey, maybe this group of elements are related to each other. Yeah. And moving on. All right, let's talk about contrast. Right, so right now we have a square over here with a gray background and body of text in almost the same shade of gray. Right, notice how hard it is to read the text in the middle of the box. All right, now notice how we change the color of the background to be darker, and we increase, right, make it slightly brighter for the color of the text, right, to increase the contrast between the text and the background. Yeah, notice how much easier, yeah, it is to read, yeah, the text, right? So having good contrast in your UI design, right, makes your elements stand out better, and in general, it creates a better user experience. And once again, this, of course, leads us to the next point, which is, all right, so before we explain what visual weight is, take a look at this example, all right? So I want you to look at these two squares for about 3 seconds. Now, which square caught your attention more, right? It's rather obvious, right? It's the square with the colored background, right? Or the orange color, right? As compared to this square without any color in it, right? This is because this square is heavier in terms of visual weight. Yeah, so visual weight is basically how heavy an UI element is as compared to other elements. Yeah, and for example, or rather this example here shows that you can use color to affect the visual weight of an element. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at another example. All right, so right here we have two circles, right, both with colors. All right, I want you to take about 3 seconds. All right, take a look at the two circles. All right, which circle caught your attention more? Yeah, so once again, it's rather obvious. It's the circle with the bigger size. Yeah, so even though both circles have the same color background, right, the circle with the bigger size, right, obviously caught your attention more because it was heavier in terms of visual weight. Yeah, so in addition to color, you can also use size to affect an element's visual weight. All right, let's take a look at how you can apply and leverage on visual weight. All right, in this first example, right, when you scroll to this web page or home page, right, I want you to take a look at this and look at it for 3 seconds. What caught your attention first? Yeah, in this case, it is very obvious. It is the call to action button right here. And that is because in terms of visual weight, right, it is much heavier as compared to the other elements. Say for example here, 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 and here, right? Because of how this button was designed, yeah, and placed, right? Especially with its background color. Yeah, so this is how even with visual weight, right, in general, if you have a very uniformly laid out visual weight across your UI design, in general, it looks more professional, but you can leverage, right, and make use of visual weight to draw attention to a certain element, right, which is why we have call to action buttons, right, for example here. Yeah, all right, another example of where you can apply visual weight, right, so take a look at this example of a model. Okay, we have a very simple model, right, with a simple image, maybe some title text, some description text, and 2 buttons, right? So take a look at this and tell me what catches your attention first. Yeah, it's rather obvious. Once again, it is the start creating button on the right. Yeah, so you will see this if you pay attention, right? You see this quite often where you have groups of buttons, right? Maybe 2 grouped together, and the main primary action or the main call to action, right, has a colored background, and the secondary button, right, will just have an outline. Yeah, so this is another usage, right, another application of visual weight where, okay, this button is intentionally designed to be heavier, right, to draw your attention to it. Yeah, all right, hopefully you have learned something useful, right, in terms of design, right, even as a developer. Yeah, so if you have not already done so, right, be sure to like and subscribe, right, to show us that you like this type of content. And as always, stay awesome and stay safe, everyone. Cheers, man.